Today I will teach you how to add a button to a Java frame in AWT using VS Code. Now we have a button class in AWT. And what is button here is a push button is a component that contains a label and that generates an event when it is pressed. So day in and day out you are using web browsers, that is web pages, and on that you can see button like login, submit, reset. So when you press the particular button, there need to be some action. So like on-click event is generated and we need to perform some action. So that event handling will be explained in the coming videos. As of now, you can just remember that there is an event handling mechanism for a button called action event. And there are some listeners called action listener. So that whenever an event is generated, we need to notify to the listener. Now, push buttons are objects of type button class. So we have a button class and we need to create the object of the button class in order to add to the container. Now coming to the constructors of a button. Now we have two constructors. One is a default constructor, or we call it as no argument constructor. Then a constructor with a string. Now the first one creates an empty button, that is no label. The second button creates a button with label, that is a string. Whatever you give, suppose you give OK here, you get an OK button. You give cancel here, you give it a cancel button. You give login button, like that you are going to create. But here we create an empty button. Now coming to the methods. A lot of methods are there, but as of now we see only two methods: set label and get label. Now set label method is used to set the label for the button after it has been created. Suppose we take the first constructor without any label, then that creates an empty button. Later on we want to set a label, then we can use set label method and you pass the string. So after creating an empty button, you can do it. Otherwise, we want to change the button value. Even though you use the second constructor, you want to change the particular value. Let's say like OK to some login. Then also you can use. Then get label. This method is used to retrieve the label from the button. So whatever you write like OK, cancel, text onto the button that I want to retrieve, then you can go for get label. So we do have two methods, get label and set label. So as I said, set label is not only applying only to the button with no name. Even though you are given the name also, you want to change the name, then you can apply the set label method later on in your program. Now I will show the demonstration of how to add a button to a Java frame in AWT using VS Code. So we need to open the VS Code environment. So you can just type Visual Studio Code. So already this software need to be installed prior in your system. Now this is the environment for the Visual Studio Code. So you need to create a folder in order to save the file. So already I'm having some folder here. And in my earlier videos, I have already clearly mentioned how to create the folder. So I create one subfolder here. Now here you can see there is an option here called new folder. Just click that. And here I'll type the folder name. Java VS 20. Okay, now it is created. Okay, now you just right click this one and go for new file. And here you can type like button demo in the Java file, and the Java should be the extension. Press enter. Now here you can write like import java.awt.star and public class button demo, then main method public static void main. Then here I'm creating a frame object, new frame of, I'll give the title as button demo. Close. Set size of the window, maybe I'll give something like 400 and 300 width and height. Now here I'll create a button, b equal to new button of, I'll give OK. Then I'll add to the frame f.add of. Then one more button you want to create, you can create b1 equal to new button of. I want to create something called cancel. Then f.add of b1. Now before adding, you can go for setting the layout. Set layout of new flow layout. Okay. So this one better I'll write the starting. Then we can add the components. Then make it visible of true. Okay. Let's save this and we'll see whether it will work or not. Okay, just to run this. I can see here two buttons are created. Okay, this one and cancel. So when we go for event handling in further videos, I'll tell whenever you just click these buttons, what action should be performed. As of now, we are seeing only adding the buttons to the frame, and you can see the title, the button demo. Then you can close. And if you want to go for some alignment, like these buttons to be left and so forth, then you can apply the flow layout. Already mentioned here, here only you can write flow layout dot left. Again just check, save it, and again run it. I can see it has come for the left side. Okay. If you want to get some horizontal and vertical gap also, you can just do. Here you can make it as maybe 100 from 100. So here this 100 is for horizontal gap and vertical gap. I'll show at the time of execution what is that. Save and run it. Now you can see this gap here. This gap is the vertical gap. Now this gap between the component is the horizontal gap. So I given 100, and earlier it was starting from here. Here also you got some 100 gap. So here vertical gapping and horizontal gapping. So you can do like this also. So in this way, you need to add the buttons to the frame. So I hope I've given some input how to add the button component to the frame. If you like this video, please share and subscribe. Thank you.